show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I am your host. I am Clay Douglas. And, hey, it's great to be with you. My guest today is Paul Topete. He's the leader of the band Pokerface. This is Patriot rock, informational rock, something you don't get on AM or FM. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm doing pretty good, brother.
I'm glad to hear it. You overslept on the last show, so I'm really glad to have you back on here. And let me just, Paul, we are really, I've been in this movement probably about the same amount of time that you have. And because we met both at the Preparedness Expos and got one of your tapes a long time ago, but it doesn't seem like we're making any progress, and I can't put my finger on the causes. The IQ of the American public is going down, as typified by coming into one of my chat rooms here to listen to the trolls try to tell you that I'm a con and I did this and I wrote my book and printed it to raise money for a snitch named Huevos. It's the kind of lies, the kind of deception that we see on the internet a lot, but it's alive and well out there in public. Are these people just stupid? I mean, you're out, you're playing on this band, you're playing on the stage, you go to these concerts, you meet people, and a lot of them are patriots, but after my accident, very few people in the Patriot movement ever came back to support me after doing Free American for years. What we see on the chat rooms now, we don't get any donations, we don't get anybody ordering books, we don't get anything. All we get is, well, you did this, you said that, and there's something going on the internet over somebody from ProThings, Zionist Crime Factory, etc., etc. And I got a letter today from this. It's been kind of boring. It's just people picking at each other and shooting at each other. And of course, if you mention the Jews, if you talk, oh Clay, you could just do so much better if you didn't talk about the Jews or marijuana. If you do, oh, well, we just can't support you. What in the hell is happening here? In your opinion? I mean, you get out there among people. So, when I got out of the hospital, Paul, I thought everybody around me had gone crazy because I'd been drugged for 3 months.
Crazy.
What do you think?
I think that there's a lot of push within our Patriot side to divide us and conquer us because, united they can't beat us. But they're going for the throat right now. That's why they're going after the guns. Obama declared war against America, especially the white middle class, because when Bolsheviks are in power, what they do is they genocide the white race. So in terms of violent crime factory and like Delaney and dudes, we all need to get together on 80% of what we do agree upon, because on the other 20%, that's what's going to kill us, because we can't just put that aside until we deal with the main issue, and that's the Bolsheviks that are trying to run this country, destroy this country, and the world if we go down. So, I don't know, man. There's a lot of chicanery going on within the movement right now, man.
Well, I think there's hope. I'm of the firm opinion. I'm not very much into religiosity. If I had to choose between a Christian, a Jewish, or a Christian country, I would certainly choose the Christian country. And there's a war against Christians right now. White Christians, they killed 60 million white Russian Christians when the Bolsheviks took over. And we're not supposed to talk about Jews because Marx and Lenin were Jewish and backed by a Jewish bank. But we're not supposed to talk about that today. That's history we got to bypass. Well, Timothy Bible College, folks, is listed up on my site, and we do talk about it in political science there. But Paul, I'm of the opinion that God is alive and well today on the internet. I mean, this is the 21st century. It would be kind of passé for God to use a burning bush, don't you think? And he sent me, or somebody was motivated to send me this thing today. And I've been reading all this Delaney, Zion Crime Factory, Xander's bullshit back and forth. Doesn't impress me. Again, we're fighting with each other. We're criticizing each other without coming to any kind of agreement on what to do. And I got this in. I used to think about Jews. I've always said that I look, and what's so amazing about this is exactly what my friend here in Texas said to me yesterday. Well, we need to attract the good Jews. We need to attract the good Jews into our movement, so we shouldn't call them Jews. We should talk about Zionists. We should avoid the facts. And this guy sent me this. Said it was like he was pulling his my friend's thoughts right out of the air. He said, I used to think about Jews very similar. I have always said that I look for the decent Jew that would call out the others. Many of my cohorts in this race have given up this hope, and perhaps for good reason, the tribal self-gain. Here's my issue. There are very few that will call out the others. Why? Because they will be called self-hating Jews. Maybe that would describe Aaron Russo. You met Aaron Russo. I put him on the cover of my magazine to the rage of some Christian identity people. But and the guy that told us about World War II, Benjamin Friedman, he was Jewish. So this is certainly, I've said I don't want to, Jesus may have solved the problem we have today, Paul. How do you fight evil without becoming evil? And this self-hating Jew thing, well, that's cowardly and not a good enough answer. This gentleman that's writing this says, I'm a white Christian that has been shunned by many other Christians for calling out the Jews. My family's been threatened, but I still go on trying to educate online and personally. My impression is that even those who are against Zionism still enjoy many of the benefits of tribe membership, good schools, jobs, entry in government positions, etc. Many benefit from the whole hoax, even when they know much, if not all, is bogus about it. Most perpetuate, and he's talking about other Jews here, most perpetuate the God's chosen myth, even if non-believers, and use that to take advantage of others. In other words, they keep their mouth shut for personal advancement, selfish reasons. Sorry, that ain't good enough. It's no more than it's good enough for aware Christians to get along. Judaism is certainly not really about religion. The old canard is erased simply from the fact that every Jew I know is a devout declaring atheist. They don't give a damn about Judaism, the religion, but adhere to the tribe mentality, even though they know it supports Zionism by and large and the evil it entails. Are all Jews evil? Probably not. But the fact is that personally I never met one that didn't use me, talk down to me, treat me like a goy, steal from me, or go tribal with my friends when I even ask questions about the tribe. So introduce me to one so I can finally say I met one. I'm 51 years old, time's running out, and that's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said to my friend here. If I had ever met one that didn't try to take advantage of me to get an extra percentage, I would be able to say that. Your opinion. Paul Topete is the leader of the band Pokerface, and Paul is doing something that I highly, highly recommend. I highly recommend that you buy his albums, you listen to his music, because he tells you the truth about cannabis and about the Jews here. And Paul, you are reaching a younger crowd with the wrong music. You know, I'm an old Eagles, ZZ Top, and Toby Keith, Willie Nelson kind of guy here. But I enjoy your music. And you are you're the only band out there that's confronting exactly what I'm talking about, this whole Jewish canard, this whole and how far back does it go, folks? Your Old Testament was written by Jews, they say, and pretty bloody. Jesus came along and attacked the current religion, which was run by the Pharisees. Paul Topete, I'm going to give the floor to you for a while.
The problem with the Jew and Patriot movement is if you're not speaking about the Jews and you're not informing your fellow American of the main threat to America, that you cower and don't talk about them proves the point that they are the problem, okay? I have a couple friends that, you know, they call themselves Jewish, but they're not really, man. They're actually not the Khazars that don't practice their faith. And if anything, they're coming more to the Christian side of life. And you hear all that noise, brother?
No, sir. I don't hear anything on this end. We are recording on 2 or 3 things, but Homeland Security interferes and taps my phones on a regular basis.
Mine too, man. I was on Truth Jihad on Monday, and in the middle of explaining what the Holocaust was all about. When the Skype signal got zapped, I'm like, really? So, yeah, that's happened too often for it to just be...
Homeland Security. I'm sorry, folks, but Homeland Security was set up. I filmed the first Homeland Security meeting, and Colonel John Brinkerhoff is telling you, in case of a single outbreak of smallpox in a major metropolitan area, we'll need 400,000 well-armed, well-trained, organized, disciplined troops to control the American people, because some of them just won't follow orders. And what they're getting ready to do, folks, because they do the same thing every time. They go after the farmers, and then they go after the intelligentsia, then they go after the veterans and the law enforcement loyal to the old regime. They did it in Russia, they did it in South Africa, they did it in Zimbabwe, they did it in Germany even. So we're trying to get you the truth out there. We need your support. We need you to brace up. You know, get a little braver. I mean, Paul, how many times do you hear, I just want to stay below the radar. I just don't want to call attention to myself. How often do you hear that?
A lot, but you know what, brother? I have to tell you that it's getting easier to talk about the Jew criminal and his crimes. And it's also been easier to destroy the faith in the myth called Holocaustianity. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was de-brainwashing 20-something-year-olds about the Holocaust, and what I was telling them made a lot more sense than the myth that keeps being propagated through the Jewish media and the textbooks that they keep, you know, shoving the myth down our children's throats. You know, man, I'm getting to a point with the Jews that I want a separation of temple and state because, you know, if Christianity can't be in schools and our government, even though it was founded, you know, by majority Christians and they used to, you know, say prayers and stuff before things, then I want separation of temple and state. You know, I no longer want to see any of the menorahs on the Capitol Hill or the president's, you know, White House or any other state office. Somehow they're allowed to have it, but no nativity scenes. I'm also tired of the Gentiles going and paying for this kosher tax. You know, taxes that the rabbis basically extort out of food companies that all of us have to pay for, even though the rabbis are the ones kosherizing things. I always thought that if you have to have something special, you pay for it. So somehow we, the free, are paying for rabbis to get rich, you know, to the tune of probably like 5 to 10 billion. I would like to get the exact number on that because it's a disgusting amount that goes out there. And hey man, it's time to call awareness to the fact that the Jews are in our homes religiously, and you know, I don't want them in my home, so I turn off my TV. I turn off my Talmud Vision programming.
Talmud Vision, that's a very good description for it. I used to, when I helped start the militias in New Mexico, and I had my worldwide shortwave show with Bill Cooper coming on the next hour. Well, he was in the mornings. He was in the evenings. I was in the mornings. I told people the best thing you can do is take your weapon out, clean it, load it, shoot the TV, and you'll be a lot better off. They don't call it programming for nothing. And that's exactly what the schools are doing. And that's part of the plank, that's what the 10th plank on the Communist Manifesto, that we're going to take over the schools and the education system. That's NEA has already done that. Your children are being dumbed down. Our IQ rate, and I don't know, again, I don't know where to point this. I mean, go to Walmart. You know, what the people you see there, they don't look right. They don't seem right. And is this from fluoride? Is it chemtrails? Is it chlorine in the water? Is it the genetically modified foods? Or is it the pharmaceutical drugs? Oh, your kid looks a little smart there. He didn't want to sit there and do his lessons. So we're going to have to give him Ritalin. We're going to have to feed him these drugs, and he may become a mass killer later. But that's okay. That's part of the plan too. This is right taken out right out of the protocols of the elders of Zion. All they've done is refine the opium poppy, so it's a little bit better. You know, I should probably do something by Bobby Bear. You know, she's doing Quaaludes again. They've been drugging us for 100 years since the banksters got intact. My mother and grandmother were drug addicts. They went to the doctor every week. My grandmother went to get sleeping pills. My mother went to get pain medication. She had hurt her back sometime. And they God, I thought that was there. I thought everybody went to a doctor, man, every week. They're doing the same thing to the Americans that they did to the Chinese when they brought the opium in, isn't it?
Yeah, they've done the same thing to America. All the above. I mean, from the SSRIs that they're feeding kids in schools and turning them into mentally unstable, shoot up the whole school kind of situation, to the fluoride in the water, to what's in our food supply. Most of it's demineralized and lacking vitamins. So, like, where does the person get any help from, man? I mean, you really got to educate yourself to what you put in your mouth, what you breathe, what you don't put in your mouth is sometimes even more important than what you put in your mouth. Do away with all pharmaceutical drugs. You really don't need them, and they're poisonous to your system. Look into Rick Simpson and his THC resin and how to make it, because when it comes to pain, it is a great painkiller. It's natural. The body loves it. It's a super vitamin C THC for the body. But you got to inform yourself. You got to stop listening to the Jews media and the puppet heads on TV, because they're never going to tell you the truth. In fact, most of the time, it's 180 degrees away from the truth.
Now, there's something else that I want to talk about. You have come up, you've mentioned cannabis here. I have told people that if a man with a badge can come up to you and say, "What's that I smell? What, is that marijuana?" You're going to have to go to jail. You live in a police state. You live in a police state. And I went to prison for marijuana in Texas back when there were people in there that I met, in prison that I met, that were doing 99 years for a joint. I wrote some books about it. I wrote some books about the United States in the future when pot was legal in most states. It was science fiction then, Paul. But what I have discovered here is that it's happening now. It's actually coming true. It's happening right now. In Colorado, and it's people. What Ayn Rand said, that the government has no power over honest citizens, so they have to make criminals out of us. That is what they've done to almost 50 million Americans for victimless crimes. They have arrested people for something they had in their pocket when they weren't hurting anyone else. If you don't hurt someone else, you don't steal from someone else, there ain't no crime. I think what we need to do is abolish all the laws against victimless crimes, restore citizenship to 50 to 100 million people who've been made into criminals, close down this whole gulag system that the Jews have built up here, the same way they built it up in Russia, the same thing that Alexander Solzhenitsyn wrote about. We got to do this, and we've got a base. We've got a base that we've overlooked because of the propaganda put out by the paper. Oh, he's a criminal. Oh, he's a biker. Didn't you see Hell's Angels in the movie? Didn't you see Peter Fonda? He was a drug dealer. He was a, Paul, my idea of free trade, take down the fences between Mexico and the United States, lay tables down there, open it up so the Mexicans can bring up the cocaine, set it on the table, bring the pot up, set it on the table, put the hemp on the counter there, and Americans can do the same thing and trade back and forth. Why should we try to control everything? That's a police state. That's what they're trying to do, and that's what's happening to us right now. And they made us all into criminals. If you're a criminal, if you go to prison, guess what? You help build more prisons. Guess what? You work for IBM for 50 cents an hour. Slave labor. We have 50 million criminals out there that aren't supposed to own guns. Now what they're going to do, folks, let me and Paul, correct me if I'm wrong on this. What they're going to do, Obama is going to sign an executive order. He's going to make you a criminal if you've got a gun, the same way he made me a criminal for smoking a joint 90, 60 years, 70 years ago. Now they're going to sign that, so they're going to make gun owners, you either turn your guns in, they're going to do the same thing to gun owners that they did to the people that had gold in their pocket. Turn that in for $16 an ounce, and we'll give you these phony dollars for that. And then you can, we'll as soon as you give the gold to the banksters, then we'll double the price to $32. They'll make it. The banker makes a nice profit. The bankers made a nice profit. When George Bush walked out that revolving door on the White House, he handed the owners of the Federal Reserve $2 trillion that you'll pay interest on, and he gave it back to the people that printed it.
Crazy.
I mean, it's insane. I think it's insane that we let them do it. I mean, come on, folks. I don't want to continue to let them do it. We put the wrong people in prison. We put your son in prison for a joint, for smoking some marijuana that has never killed anybody. Aspirin has killed more people every year than marijuana, because marijuana has never killed anybody. It cures cancer, but you can't have it. Because, hey, what do you want to do? You want to fuck up the economy? Oh, man, we got to have those doctors. We got to have those hospitals. We got to have that 100,000% markup on those pharmaceuticals. What part of slavery don't you understand, folks? Paul Topete, Pokerface. We got 6 minutes left in this half, and I've docked on most of it, Paul. I'm giving you the floor.
What I know about the medical death cartels is they're not there to heal you. They're there to make money off of you and take every last shekel out of you. The promising work that Rick Simpson's been doing with trying to heal people with cancer and the THC resin is miraculous. I have a friend of mine that's going through the process right now, and he's been having excellent results. And I would like assist being offered to people that don't want to use the pharmaceutical or the cut, slash, and burn, radiation, chemo, and surgery. If you could take this vitamin, super vitamin THC, and it could heal you and get you off of most of your prescription meds that you could grow for free, wouldn't you do that? That's the way that we have to start going, taking care of our own needs, because the government basically made criminals out of all us, so we're outlaws. So continue to not violate the rights of other people, but just start to negate bullshit laws that don't have the right to exist. I mean, I think it was Justice Black that said any law that violates the Constitution is null and void coming out the gate. So I ignore unconstitutional, unlawful laws. So I suggest the rest of America do the same. It's been in our heritage, man, to basically protest, and this is a form of protest. Protest bullshit laws, man.
I say that we need to abolish, this is what I wrote about, this is what I'm urging, abolish all laws against victimless crimes, and let's make it retroactive. Let's go back and restore people's rights. I went to get my rights restored. I called up the BATF. They said they closed down that department. I could not get my rights restored because we didn't have the budget for that. We only got the budget to put you in prison. And that's what they're doing. They want to make criminals out of you. That's what the tax laws are about. And there is some, I'm not just being negative here, there is some reaction. We have reached some people. There is an awareness about the Jews, about the criminals that are Jews. Not all Jews are criminals, and not all criminals are Jews. They got, if you're a Christian Zionist, you're a Judeo-Christian. I actually, we ought to use the correct name. That would be satanic Christian, wouldn't it? The Talmud is a satanic book. Why else would a 60-year-old rabbi get off on sucking the blood from a Christian baby's penis? I mean, come on, that's Phileto, isn't it? I mean, why aren't we putting these people in jail for mutilation and everything? We talk about the Muslims are mutilating the women. Well, you've got the Jew doctors here that are mutilated American men to try to make them look Jewish. Come on. Are we tired of this yet? We're cattle to them, Paul. I don't know. I mean, that's the way they look at it. We're animals to them. We're the herd, and they're culling the herd. They wrote that in stone, folks. You think it took a lot of money to build those Georgia guide stones?
Right.
They're telling you what they plan on doing.
Plan to do, yeah. Murder 6.5 billion of them. Who gets to choose who plays God, to choose who stays and who goes. I think God will come back before that happens and destroy the evil, so I'm not worried about it, man. For those that don't believe in God, it's going to be a hell of a ride for everybody.
All right. Could you, if you've got any of your music available, or if you can send me a link on the thing, I'll put a couple of your tunes up while because I got to go over to another recording here.